Apple and Samsung hate each other, but they also need each other in a real way. So I was looking at this random short the other day. It was comparing like the S25 Ultra to the iPhone 16 Pro, and one of the top comments reminded me, most people don't actually realize that Samsung makes the displays for the iPhone. So yeah, Samsung, who has their own line of smartphones with high-end OLED displays, makes the high-end OLED displays of their rival, the iPhone. And this is at the top of my list of fascinating company relationships where the economics more than outweigh the public rivalry. Now, the high-end OLED iPhones typically have several suppliers. Sometimes LG chips in a little bit, sometimes some others, but it's mostly Samsung because they're the one display company that can reliably supply these high-quality screens at a massive scale with the quality that's up to Apple standards for the iPhone. Now, it's funny, if you were hearing this for the first time and you were thinking, if you were Samsung and Apple came up to you and they're like, hey, we're back. We want to buy 100 million new OLEDs for our brand new iPhone Air, whatever, and it's got to have this amazing high brightness and perfect color calibration. If you were Samsung, what if you just said, no, yeah, we won't sell you the screens? Then suddenly Apple has a supply chain crisis on their hands and they have to use worse quality displays, and suddenly Samsung screens are way better, so everyone buys Samsung phones, and then Samsung wins, right? But it's not that simple. And that's really entirely just because of the economics. Samsung makes so much money selling displays, millions and millions of screens to Apple for the iPhone. And so the theoretical amount more Samsung phones they could sell if they like sabotage the iPhone displays would just not nearly make up for the amount of money they lose if they don't have Apple as a customer anymore. Fun fact, Samsung came out with the Galaxy S8 in 2017. But you know what they made even more money from than the Galaxy S8? The iPhone X, because they sold so many hundreds of millions of iPhone X displays to Apple that it actually made them more money as a company. Apple needed roughly 180 to 200 million OLED panels for the iPhone X. So of course they keep doing it, despite being competitors for the exact same customer. This dynamic has been real for a number of years now, but there are rumors it may eventually come to an end if Apple were to, say, switch to micro LED displays for a new iPhone and have to find a new supplier. That could be tough for Samsung. Kind of the same way that when Apple switched to their own design chips for Macs and stopped using off-the-shelf Intel chips, that was tough for Intel. But for now, money talks.